Hi everyone, it's Kim. Thanks for joining me. I had pretty much forgotten about graduation this year until I received a graduation announcement in the mail. And then I knew I better get busy. So we're going to look at just a couple of more elaborate graduation cards today. I just pulled this out because I knew I had this somewhere. I finally dug it out, so I'm just giving it its few seconds of video time before we move on to what I used. You don't have to have a lot of graduation dies. I fortunately had a couple and then I went digging for a few more. But let me show you the card that I created for the class of 26. Again, the cards that I'm going to show you today are more elaborate. Obviously, we can back down, but my focus is how can we personalize these cards for our graduates because graduation is a huge thing. So let me show you this stage one. I love, love, love the stage. So if they took it out of the envelope, this is how it would look. And we'll talk about some of the pieces that I used. Again, a lot of these are just dies for other things that I was able to put together for graduation. So I'm going to pop the stage up, show you what that looks like. I used the card on the back. And this one, I know you can see the acetate strip, but if I didn't have it so much where it was catching the light, this is supposed to be where he is throwing his cap up into the air. So if you don't see that strip, maybe that gives you a better idea of what that's supposed to represent. But I knew I had a couple dies from Karen Burniston. One is the People die set, Paper People. And I love this die set. I put this to good use because I could really personalize this. I may not make it look exactly like the graduate, but I can pick and choose some hairstyles, modify if I need. And then she also has another set for the cap and gown called Graduation Elements. So these two sets I put to good use for this card. And I also used that stage die. And we're going to talk about the stage die here a little more in just a second. Good die. I can't get enough of the stage die. So I did my people. I created my people. I could dress them easily. I used, again, the acetate strip to make it appear that he was throwing his cap in the air. The class of 26 is this banner, and then this is a font die set from Tim. I believe it's a typewriter one. But whatever one, as long as you have letters that fit into the banner, if you wanted to say class of 26, go for it. Now the curtain is from a Hero Arts die set. This has probably been out for a few years. It is still available from Hero Arts. You can also find it on Simon Says Stamp and scrapbook.com. I did find it on the different pieces on all those websites. But when I purchased this way back when, I did it with the thought of graduation. So we'll just start with this top die here. Let's see what this is called. It's the audience die. Let's see here. It's the center stage crowd fancy die. And I used that as if they're the audience. And I made that my band around the base of my stage. And then the paper people are from Karen. Then the curtain die in the back. And here's how another way you can personalize it. If you don't know the colors or the mascot or what the school looks like, Google it. That's one great thing with the internet. We can find out all that information about the class colors. So I just said I had to make up my colors. Let's say they were gold and green. So I could make the curtains one of the class colors. It really doesn't matter. The gold is probably a standard color in graduation, so maybe I want to make the banner the other color for my school. You could change the gowns and make the gowns one of the colors for the school. And if you know what color of gowns they're wearing, there you go, you're set. Again, I thought, okay, one of these people would be my graduate. I'd probably put them here in the front, and I could kind of alter their hairstyle. Obviously, their face I can't do, but skin tone, that type of thing, you have control over all of that. Then for the people here, kind of the people in the back for the stage, I have the die set that goes with this, and there is a stamp set as well, which I didn't use the stamp set, but I did use the die set. And let's see what the name of that is. This was the stage bundle. Oh, and I'm sorry, I don't know. If you get online and look, you'll recognize these by the picture. I don't see the name of that because it came in the bundle. There's a stencil. I did not use that. So pick and choose maybe what you're interested in. If you want a stage look, I'm sure there's other stages and curtains out there. And then on the back of this, I just put congrats, the world is your stage. The world is your stage is in this stamp set. So I guess I did use some of these as far as sentiments. And when I read through these, I thought, really, there's a lot of these I could use for graduation. I'm cheering you on. You deserve a standing ovation. You're a class act. You leave me speechless. I'm your biggest fan, and the world is your stage. And we're going to see this one again here in just a sec. So even though this is maybe more for a performance type of stamp set, I was able to use several items in this for my card. And then the congrats is an old Spellbinders die, Vivid Script Sentiment. I just had this one sitting around. I like the font. So any congrats, congratulations would work. And there's The World is Your Stage from the Hero Art stamp set. And then I'm making mine a gift card holder because I have several places to sign. I could have signed on the back here, but I'll show you where I'm going to sign it. When I was digging for the graduation stamps, I came across this gift card holder. I mean, you could simply do something very simple, make a pocket without a die if you want to use this as a gift card holder or sign it there. What I'm going to do for this one is on the bottom of the stage, I'm going to actually write my personal note here because on the back side, I stamp push, and that's using the Stage Scenes stamp set from Karen. And celebrating you today, that could be another stamp that I could use. In fact, I could put that celebrating you today and then write, but I think I'll just write my personal note here. And then when this is on display, then, I can write what I want without the whole world reading it. But know that if you want, you could write on the back as well. So we have looked at the stage die numerous times. And last time we saw how simple it was to make the Lorna label. So today I want to show you in like a 2 or 3 minute time lapse here how easy it is to create this stage die. And again, you don't have to start at the most difficult level. We're just going to do the most basic stage. And then after you get that down, you can go from there. So we're going to use a stage pop-up. There are add-on sets to this, but all we're going to use is a stage pop-up and the main die pieces. So I've already got everything cut out and the creases folded. So we have our 2 main pieces for the stage. We need the band going around the stage. And then I have 2 pieces I cut for the bottom. So for the base of the stage, and then for the top of the stage, I have 2 pieces that are more decorative. And then we're just going to do a center pop-up right here. We'll talk about this one, but we're going to keep it at the most basic level. And so we're just going to talk about putting a piece to hold something up in the center here. So this is how simple it is. Even though people look at it and think, oh my gosh, that's so difficult, it really isn't. So we're going to start with these pieces. You cut them out, lay them up so the tab faces up because this is going to be the top part. Take your 2 decorative pieces and we're going to simply glue those down. And you want to fold and crease all the fold lines. That's your first thing. I have already done that to save some time, but you can see things are well creased. So let's just put these pieces on. And the other thing I want to tell you, which we'll do here, is, let the glue set up. Give it some time to dry when you're working with this, because that can make a big difference instead of trying to rush through it and then things aren't quite sticking like you want them. But I think you'll be amazed, even though people are wowed by it, you're going to be amazed at how easy this is. Okay, if you want to do, like in the stage, you're going to have a little L pop-up thing here. Now is when you want to cut this, not after you put it together. And there's these two little dies that look like this that mine have green paper on. Watch Karen's video. I can't encourage you to do that enough. We're doing a super simplified version, but she suggests putting this paper. Mine are just taped over the die, just so you don't lose these and they're easier to handle. One thing I will note, and I need to go back and do this one, is make the edge of the die parallel to the paper. So I did a pretty good job on this one. So if I want to die cut this, I can lay it down and I can make this edge parallel to like my decorative paper edge or to this fold line. This one I didn't do such a great job on. You can see I wouldn't want to line this edge up because then my slot will be cut crooked. So I need to trim that down and line that up better. But you get the idea. So you can do those wherever you want, but we're going to keep it simple today. So we're not going to do that. We do, however, want to put this little die that kind of holds things up. So you cut two at a time. Normally mine are cut out of acetate because then I don't see them. So I just cut a bunch out of acetate. This hat one is pretty lightweight acetate, but my people ones, which you can't even see that between their legs there, that is made out. I cut those out of like plastic, a plastic, not a container, but packaging, plastic packaging. So it's a little heavier duty than the one here because I figure I want them to stand upright and not be flopping around in the wind. So you can put this wherever, think about what you're doing. We're going to make it super simple today. We're going to just plop it right down in the center. So this is the part here, the center part. We're going to be gluing that together. So I'm going to glue this smack down in the center just to make it easy. When I use acetate, I use the red liner tape because this will hold the acetate in place, where glue, it will take forever to dry and then it's still easy to pop off. So I'm going to put that there. And now we're going to put these together. And all we have to do, this is how easy it is. Just fold that over on this tab. You could do tape. We're going to do glue. I usually glue it. And when I make the base, the stage base, I like to use 110-pound paper. It's kind of, it's heavier, but it kind of like locks into place, pops into place, which you'll see. I'm just going to put that over there. We're going to do the other side. And all I have to do is fold that over. I don't have to like hold it and try to line it up. Put some glue on that tab, fold the other side over, and that's it. So we're going to let those sit a minute and dry, and we're going to work for the band that goes around. So this time I used my people. I did something a little different there, but we're going to use the base band that comes with this. Again, fold all the pieces, crease it. Use your bone folder, make a nice crease. So I'm just going to take one tab in and put some glue on that. Take the other side, the flat edge, and line those up. And I fold them like this so I can make sure they're lined up straight, because you need them straight to go around that stage. And then I can just pick this other end up, fold that tab in, and add some glue on this side. And fold that down like that. And we're going to let that sit for a second. Let's go back to our stage. And now we're going to glue these two edges together like this. Oops. Sorry. forget what I just said there. Let me get this going right here. I'm trying to make this easy, and I'm giving you the wrong path to follow. These two pieces here, these two long pieces, this is what we want to glue together, not the short end. Sorry about that. So we're going to add glue to that, and we're going to just line those up, and we're going to let those dry. And if say you didn't put this on at the time we originally did, you could put that on now, but you want to do it before we glue these together. And my biggest challenge is thinking ahead. What am I going to do and where do I want my pieces? I've been known to glue this together and then have second thoughts. And to be honest, I've kind of taken my little X-Acto knife and gone in there to separate them. And we're just going to let those sit like that. We'll give those a second to set up. Now on this piece, if you want, there are pieces you can decorate. These little, there's 3 of them. And if you want to put a decorative border, you can do that. I would do it now if you know what you want, but we can flatten this out. That's one nice thing about this die is you can flatten it out if you have second thoughts, and you could add that later in a flat position. Won't be able to do it in the back if you have this on it, but you will be able to do it in the front and then the sides there. But much easier to do it right now. So if we wanted, we could add that on. We're not going to do that today. And I'm going to put this onto the stage base where I have connected it. That's kind of where I put those on the side. So we'll hope this is set up. Normally I would let it dry a little longer, but just flatten it out, open it up like this. If you have a little slot, that's where you need to add one of these, and there's a little edge that it folds so you can put it down. I'm going to refer you to Karen's video for that because, again, we're keeping it simple today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just set this in here like this. Now, my outer cardstock, because I used a different color, is less than 110 pounds. If this is 110 pounds, you may find it kind of tough to push that in. Just be gentle. It will go in there. You may have to fold your stage a little bit to press it in, or it may just like practically fall in like mine did. So I push it in there because I want it to be flat and level on the bottom. I don't want the stage sticking above the border, and I don't want the border sticking above the stage. So I just push it down so everything is flat. And then what I'm going to do is pull the edge out, and we're going to glue. I'm going to pop this back out here. We're going to glue along this edge and this edge now. There's nothing to glue on the other sides. So let's push that back in there. I just pull this apart, and again, if this is 110 pound and your border is 110 pound, it's going to be tight. And I just squish a little glue down there and press it in. Nothing difficult about that. And then if I have a little glue that comes out, which I sometimes do, I just take my tweezers or something and go along the edge. And there we go. We're done. We have our basic stage, and we can decorate, put whatever we want. Since we're doing graduation, I'm going to do, I made a little Mickey Mouse. I know you might think, well, this is a little juvenile for a high schooler or a college grad. You never know. If they're into Mickey, this might be great. Again, you can personalize Mickey. Spellbinders does have a graduation add-on set for Mickey. Now, that's on my list to get when I do my next Spellbinders order, but I need this card sooner rather than later. So I thought I'm going to have to just do what I can with what I have. So I went back to my graduation elements from Karen Burniston. I used the smaller of the hat. The larger one was just too big. I used the gown. I cut the gown in half and then just kind of laid it on his body. I did all this before I put Mickey's head on there. The other thing I like to do is, because you can see the back side of this, I try to just make it a little neater, and like I double cut the gown, one for the front, used it as is, and then I just trimmed a little on the back to make it work. Same thing with this hair. It looks kind of funny, but it looks finished. So for Mickey, I knew the back was going to be a little different. So once I figured out where I wanted the gown, I glued it on his body. His head was off. And then I laid this down and traced around it on the back side of my blue paper, just so I would have like the back of the gown. It's not perfect. I had to go around and trim up a little. I cut another head out and just attached it to the back. So when I glue him on here, I left this up. I'm going to glue his feet on and part of up here. We'll just put a little glue here and here. And this is why I normally use a clear little L brace. But today we're going to do it like this. And we'll see how good. Let me do it from the front side. We'll get him so he's standing up there straight. Press him down. And then I am going to glue the bottom of the gown. But you can see kind of how, oops, maybe let me add a little more glue and try again. Yeah, let's do a little more glue. That might help. Press him in there. This time I won't be flipping him around so much. There he is. And then let me hang on to him. You won't really be able to see this, but I'm just going to put a little glue on that black L brace and press the back of his gown down. So now he looks a little more finished on the back side, even though you're not going to see that. So there's our Mickey. Do whatever else you want to do, but here is our very, very basic Mickey. And let's say the school colors were that blue, so that's why I made his gown in blue. If you've got time and you like Mickey and you want to use him for graduation, get on Spellbinders and order the kit that goes with it. The add-on set that goes with it. One thing I really like is they have a different pair of shoes in that set for both Mickey and Minnie. So definitely, I got to do that in the future. Now, I saw the idea to put this back piece on from Instagram, and the person is Cat Rocks Crafting. And I know we've mentioned her before when the stage die came out. She's got some great, great samples. So if you're on Instagram, check her out. She's probably on the Karen Burniston Facebook Pop-Up Peeps page. I'm not on Facebook, so I can't confirm that, but I can't find a YouTube for her, but she is on Instagram. So if you have access to that, check her out. So I'm going to do this. What I did is I got online and I said, okay, this is a playground from a grade school in the town I grew up in. So I would normally do a school, but a playground. Let's say I'm doing this for somebody who's graduating from kindergarten. This might be their playground, and I can put this on the back. So you can do whatever you want. You don't obviously have to do a playground. You could do the school. You could do something like this, however you want to personalize it. But I want to show you how easy it is to add this. As long as this will fit into your envelope, and again, I'm using like 6x9 envelopes to mail these out, or better yet, to hand them to someone. I just want to show you how easy it is to add this to it. And then we're going to add our bottom flaps. So I've got my piece here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to find my center point here. And I'm just going to make a little tick mark. Again, if you want to put something on the back of this, write on it, or decorate it, congrats, stamp on it. Especially if you're going to stamp on it, do it now while it's its own separate piece. It's kind of hard to do it after you attach it. The other thing is I'm going to pop this down and I'm going to find the center of this back piece. And these are 2 inches. So let me just find the center and I'm going to put a little tick mark at the center there. So now I can line these 2 up very easily. And if you have a paper clip, I'm going to paper clip the bottom, then that just holds this shut. So I'm not struggling with that. So this is the bottom of the stage. I'm going to glue this, just this one single back piece here. And then I'm going to make sure I have this right side up. So I want to make sure it's like this. I'm going to line this point up with this point, and all I have to do literally is I just come in here and kind of slide it together, line the bottom of my back piece up with the border of the stage. And if I had those other pieces, my little tick marks lined up, that's it. And I can let that sit for just a second. Let's talk about these. I believe in Karen's video, I'm not 100%, but I think she put these on right away. And the reason I don't is because the first time I made it, I used the stamp set that goes with this. And there's a one that says push, so your recipient knows how to work this. And I think I stamped it on one and I put it on the base of the stage right away. Well, I didn't stop to think about that needs to be on a particular side. So for me, I do this piece, these pieces last. Now I've gone ahead. You will always do push along the long side, but we need to do this on the back side of the stage. Excuse me. Otherwise, it'll be upside down. So let's pop this open again. And this needs to go to the back side. If I do it like on the front side, it's upside down. And I want to write on this side. And I want to push on the back side. Now, if you don't want, you don't have to put these pieces on here, but it kind of finishes it up for when your recipient opens it. So we'll leave that one there. Again, I'm going to just kind of put my paper clip in here to hold this down. This really isn't as difficult as I seem to be making it there. And let's glue these pieces. That goes on the back side. This goes on the front side. And this is the one that I can write my personal message. You can stamp on it. You can decorate it. Again, do it before you glue it on. Makes it a little easier instead of trying to, like, say, stamp with all these layers. And I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to do the same thing back here. And then I'm done. So probably took me a little more than 3 inches as I was sitting here talking through this, or 3 inches, 3 minutes. But I think you get the idea of how easy it is to make that stage. It really, really is. And I'd say even if I sent it like that, I could have put the little decorative paper around the side, but that could be a very personalized mini. And I think for someone who doesn't stamp, if they were to get this in the mail, even if they do stamp and create, this is a pretty little impressive graduation card. And if they know that this is their kid's playground, that is going to have a lot of meaning to them. So that's how easy it is to do the stage. So again, I want to encourage you, don't be afraid of the mechanical cards. They really, aren't difficult. Some of them are more challenging than others, but the stage is super simple. And Karen has a video, and I hope that shows you how easy it really is to put together. Here's where Mickey and Minnie came from, the Steamboat Willie duo from Spellbinder. So I could have done Minnie just as easily as I did Mickey. So one last one to show you. This one would probably be, it's smaller to mail. Again, it's more elaborate just because I'm only doing maybe one graduation card, and it's for someone who I want to know how special they are. So the world is your stage. We're going to talk about the outside here in a minute, but let me show you the inside. This again is using a very simple pop-up. This is the arch pop-up, and I've used this one quite a bit, and it has little pieces that come out. I basically, more often than not, just use the two sides of the arch. That's it. Again, I do it in acetate, so you can't really see it. So hopefully it looks like they're throwing up their caps in the air. And I probably wouldn't be making 6 graduates, but this just gives you an idea of how you can customize the look of each of these individuals. The gown is very simple, the graduation gown. If they are a valedictorian, top 10% of their class, they get a medal for something, you can personalize that. One nice thing with so many of the announcements I've seen recently is there is some kind of picture contained in the announcement or is the announcement. So if you haven't seen them for a while, you can take a look at their picture. And for the decorating, I made my people and then I was kind of like, oh, okay, what am I going to do for my background? Because this is where maybe you could get online, print off a picture of their school or their school grounds, put that back there. Um, for my congrats in class of 2026, I knew I had this somewhere, but I didn't know where. So I just got out a font, one of my Tim Holtz fonts, and actually two of them, and I just did the class of 2026. So if you don't have something like that, just get one of your font sets out and die cut out the individual letters. The congrats came from Karen Burniston. So this die cuts out all the letters. So I just cut this out, trimmed around what the piece you would throw away, and then lined it with black paper and used that instead of lining up the individual letters for congrats. Just another way to do it. On this one, I will, again, sign it on the back, put my little message back there. So when they open it up to display it, you can, leave it like this. If you just have one, just have your graduate on there, you can fill the background with something else that, maybe pertains to them if they were into sports or whatever. Maybe you can figure out what their mascot is. And if you have, say it's a lion, find a lion die, or there's a Tim Holtz die that's a lion. I think that would be kind of cool. Dress the lion up like he's graduating too. So my paper that I had is from Elizabeth Craft Designs. This is fairly recent paper. I just got it, and it says "See the World," and so that is why I thought, okay, I'm going to let my graduates see the world. The globe die is from Tim. This is, I think, the oldest one. There's one larger, and he has a vault one. Whatever size you have will work. This was super easy. This is called Globe Mini. When I went down digging for my class of dies, I found these other IO dies. So I thought, I'm going to pull them out and use them. A lot of these companies are no longer in existence, but if you have something for graduation, look and see what you have. So I thought, well, I'm going to use them. I have them. I'm going to use them. In case you have this die, I don't think this has a name to it. It's die 296T. I also found in that stash a hat, another diploma, and then these two characters jumping up. I didn't use those, but I need to put them where I can find them again. And then I know somewhere I have a large graduation cap, but I don't know where, and I didn't uncover it. So I just made this on my own. All you have to do is really take a look at this. This is kind of like an elongated triangle. That's what I made. Then on the bottom half, I thought, let me get like something I can make a little curve, and just trimmed it out. And then I used the tassel from this die. It could probably stand to be a little bigger, but guess what? It works. And then again, I used from the stage, the Hero Art stage die, The World is Your Stage. So I figured that works for most graduates. They're going to go out into the world and find their own way. But I do love the inside. This one would be a little easier to mail, not as big as the stage die, but this should fit in a 6x9 envelope, and this will be a tight squeeze into an A2 envelope, but it would work, probably a little extra postage, but it works. So if you have a graduate you need to make something for, and it's somebody that is a relative or a special young person that you've watched grow up, go all out and make them a great graduation card. If it's someone that you really don't know, you could still make them a nice card, maybe not go all out, but you could still make them a unique card, because it's really special for them to receive something that someone has made for them. And if you can personalize it with their school colors, or maybe if you use one of the people, kind of make it look like them, very much appreciated. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again in a future video.